Privy, this is Zevran representing Dragon Age Origins. I don't think Sten has anything else to tell us, but we'll try anyway.
You called.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Do you find Ferelden very strange?
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Our farmers wish to be merchants.
I think
the
we had
merchants
that
dream of being
conversation.
nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are.
You sound a bit homesick.
Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Zevran. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs.
You left out the rotting garbage.
True. I was trying to forget that part. Shall we move on?
Is there anything you like about Ferelden?
There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly.
Cookies?
Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied.
I'll keep that in mind.
Shall we move on?
Don't the Kunari ever want to change their lot in life?
What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell.
But that makes the turtle stronger.
Does it? It's also his weakness. If he stumbles and falls over, it pins him on his back. It is better to armor yourself with no more than what you need. One life, one duty.
You don't think happiness is important?
You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on?
I wanted to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak then.
There is some wisdom in the chant, you know.
Then someone should release it into the wild. It is in danger of dying out.
That's a good one. Were you saving that up?
No, that just came to me now. Tell me, where is the wisdom in crying for a derelict god to save you?
The world needs help.
My people have a tale. A great Ashkari during his travels came upon a village in the desert. There he found the houses crumbling, the earth so dry and dead that the people tied themselves to each other for fear a strong wind would carry the ground out from under their feet. Nothing grew there except the bitter memory of gardens. The Ashkari stopped the first man he saw and asked what happened here. Drought came, and the world changed from prosperity to ruin, the man told him.
So what happened?
Change it back, the Ashkari replied. The villager became angry then, believing the Ashkari mocked him, for no one could simply change the world on a whim. To which the Ashkari answered, "Then change yourself. You make your own world."
People don't make the world, Sten.
Are you sure of that? Tell me, when you awakened after Ostagar, was the world the same as it had been before? Believe in whatever you like, absent creators or whimsical gods. Follow prophets or Ashkari or omens in the earth and sky. You will find wisdom only if you seek it. Harshera, we should move on.
Let's go.
As you wish.
He's got a... Whoa! 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 He's got a point, you know. I mean... What? I don't think I've ever managed to get that much approval from Sten before, and I'm not even trying too hard. Oh, I see the fatigue actually. Oh, Alistair is obvious. Zevran 2 point. I'll unencumber him later, perhaps. This is not normal. Alright. Let's try again.
You called.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Alright, actually never mind.
Very well.
I wanted to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak then.
So what do you believe in then?
When your people join us, you'll find out.
What do you mean?
Our ships will come to these shores, and the Antam will bring this land to the Qun. But it does no good to dwell on it. Harshera, we should move on.
I had another question.
Very well.
That's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
Let's go.
As you wish.
Whoa, okay, he actually... Damn crash.
Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
You are a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to share? No, never mind, nothing. Sorry. Zevran, I'll take care of you later.
Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off.
Good, he'll fell our enemies with his stench.
That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him.
Go ahead, he's getting a little rank.
Excellent. I will get my soaps, and the dog shall have his bath after supper.
That's exactly how mine react. I mean, they don't understand me, but I think that's about what they would say. I don't think you have anything to add. No. Right, let me see. I think I should talk to Alistair at some point. I mean, let me see if that makes any sense. I think it might by now. 5:54. I think 54 is exactly the point where it does make sense. Let me see if I don't trust you.
Here, look at this. Do you know what this is?
Is that a trick question?
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to trick you. Is it working? Oh, I just about had you, didn't I?
Oh yes, you are wily.
Nefarious, even.
Alistair.
I picked it in Lothering. I remember thinking, how could something so beautiful exist in a place with so much despair and ugliness? I probably should have left it alone, but I couldn't. The Darkspawn would come and their taint would just destroy it. So I've had it ever since.
That's a nice sentiment.
I thought that I might give it to you, actually. In a lot of ways, I think the same thing when I look at you.
I don't know what to say.
I guess it's a bit silly, isn't it? I just thought, here I am, doing all this complaining, and you haven't exactly been having a good time of it yourself. You've had none of the good experience of being a Grey Warden since your joining. Not a word of thanks or congratulations. It's all been death and fighting and tragedy. I thought maybe I could say something. Tell you what a rare and wonderful thing you are to find amidst all this darkness.
I feel the same way about you.
I'm glad you like it. Now, if we could move right on past this awkward, embarrassing stage and get right to the steamy bits, I'd appreciate it.
Sounds good. Off with the armor then.
Ha ha. Bluff called. Damn, she saw right through me.
Why must it be a bluff?
Well, it doesn't have to be a bluff. Well, I suppose we are in the camp. The tent's right over there. This is true.
No time like the present then.
I'll be standing over here until the blushing stops, just to be safe. You know how it is.
You are a coward. You are an absolute and utter coward. Do you know that even? You coward. I thought that's the point. I was... Yes, but no.
Yes?
I'd like to discuss something private.
Well, we're in camp. Now's as good a time as any to talk, right? Oh, you want to right now? Well, who am I to refuse?
Well, if this... Yeah. Did I talk to Shell? Yeah, I did. Then Zevran.
I've a question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity.
You could go if you wanted.
Could I? And what if I didn't wish to leave?
I could always use a friend.
Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes?
Oh, it's so bloody hard to resist him. I don't know. Yes. So hard.
What say you?
Oh, you're suddenly very much friendlier. Care to answer some questions?
By all means.
So, tell me about your adventures.
My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children when I talk about the good old days?
You certainly talk like you've had adventures.
Falling down a flight of stairs is an adventure. Falling into someone's bed, also an adventure. I am assuming what you're looking for are professional anecdotes. Let's see, my second mission ever for the Crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics.
The Crows were willing to anger the circle of Magi.
In Antiva, nobody is too important to escape the reach of the Crows. They've killed kings and queens. That is simply how it is. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I might add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning.
And she didn't try to kill you?
Well, yes, twice, actually. Then she decided to try and use me instead. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the Crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly.
Were you upset?
At first, yes. Well, not upset. Surprised is really a better word. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the Crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The Circle of Magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier all around.
Except for the mage.
I suppose, but she was dead. She didn't need to be happy. It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day, you see.
A wise lesson to learn.
And one that not everyone learns, I'm sad to say. But that's enough tale spinning from me for the moment. Talking about the mage has made me a bit nostalgic, I'm afraid. Ah, the good old days. What say you?
Care to answer some questions?
By all means.
So, tell me more about your adventures.
Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax
Oh,
poisoning?
thanks.
I watched a man go through all 7 once.
That sounds like fun.
Haha, you have rather macabre tastes, I see. I like that. Let's see, how about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Osrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts?
You killed the prince?
Me? Not personally, but I did take part in the attack. Prince Osrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocel from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Osrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells.
Is this sort of thing common in Antiva?
Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part.
What did you do?
My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in a river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history.
You are very lucky indeed.
It's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh?
You're sweet. Sometimes I'm not sure if I don't even know how not to romance you.
What say you?
I'll try that again. Can you teach others to be an assassin?
I suppose the crows are already furious, yes? What harm is another tweak to their nose? If you wish to be trained in the basics of an assassin, I can certainly show you. Or anyone else who is also a rogue. It shall be fun. I will make it fun. I promise.
You're actually quite nice if you want to. That's out of the way.
What say you?
Care to answer some questions?
By all means.
So, tell me more about your adventures.
Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything.
It's alright, I understand.
Thank you. Perhaps another day, huh?
He'll speak eventually.
What say you?
But the third line actually, this "do you stare at everyone like that" is actually, I mean, that's obviously pickup line, and that doesn't go away anytime soon, I think, either.
Again?
Oh.
I'm game.
Never mind. Yes, let's see Wynne, who we haven't talked to yet. You are difficult person, Lord.
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome.
Are you alright?
Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken.
You're very sprightly for your age, though.
Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time, but there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done.
I'm not commenting on that. Hey, don't say those things, we still need you.
Oh, no. I'm not the sort of person that leaves things unfinished. I'll see this through, I promise. Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower?
Well, there was Connor.
Ah, yes, Connor, of course. The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most.
But it's this knowledge that drives you to be cautious.
One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone. Replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say.
You have doubts?
Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured. Or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity.
We cannot let them simply be because they might get better.
I suppose that old adage remains true. Prevention is better than a cure. So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden?
It's better than being a castless tunnel rat in Orzammar.
I have learned a little of the strict caste system of the dwarves, and I apologize for saying this, but it seems terribly backward. Regardless of what happened in your past, I am glad you found a place with the Wardens, as I'm sure you are too.
It's just nice to be seen as something other than a brand.
Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be. I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you?
I suppose it's about killing as many darkspawn as possible.
There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men.
You mean to say I serve as a protector?
As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they.
I suppose that makes sense.
A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant.
I don't want power. I never wanted it.
If you live apart from others and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. What's on your mind?
Are you feeling better now?
Oh, yes, and thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better today.
Please let me know if there's anything I can do.
Well, thank you for your kindness, my dear. It certainly warms these rickety old bones.
I actually like that woman. I really like her. I know some people don't, but oh, how can you?
What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask something about the circle.
I will answer to the best of my ability.
How did you become a mage?
People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then.
How did you know you were a mage?
I set a boy on fire.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet he deserved it too.
Oh, yes, he did. He was the eldest son of the woman who took me in. I don't think he ever liked me. I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby.
Serves him right.
He ran screaming, dripping head and all, to his mother. I was shut up in the barn, with a bowl of water and a crust of hard bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later.
What a terrible experience for a child.
The barn kept me safe from the village children and the stones they would hurl at me. I was afraid, yes, but it could have been much worse. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home.
That's a great story.
Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the Circle.
What was life like in the tower?
I would be lying if I said it was easy. First, there were rules, and we were constantly watched to make sure we behaved appropriately. Then there was the study of magic. We had to cast the spells just so, control the effects completely. A single word spoken incorrectly, a gesture out of sync, and lack of focus. And we needed to have perfect focus, or we would be in danger.
Danger from what?
From Fade spirits. If we were careless, they would enter our minds, and we would become abominations. Without the Circle and my mentors, I would not have been where I am today. And there was joy in life at the Circle. The joys of fellowship, in knowing that you were not alone in your struggles. In spite of everything, I was happy in the tower, and I loved it.
There's nothing else I want to discuss right now.
What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask you something about the Circle.
I will answer to the best of my ability.
Why didn't you want to stay at the tower?
The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it.
I'm glad for your company.
The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end, and after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle.
I wanted to make sure you really wanted this.
No, of course I don't. I'm old and unsure of what I'm doing. Actually, I'd rather be in a warm chair in the sun, being served pudding, or some other easily digestible food.
Well, that can be arranged.
Well, get on it then, and make sure there's a blanket in my chair, and that it's soft, and that the pudding doesn't have cream on it. Cream gives me gas.
Wynne.
What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask you something about the Circle.
I will answer to the best of my ability.
Nothing right now.
What's on your mind?
I was just thinking about being a Grey Warden.
Is something troubling you?
No, I think it was the best thing that happened to me.
You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight.
I don't give up easily.
And that gives me hope. Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old?
Hang on. Only what I've heard in the tales.
It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago.
Does it have... No. Does the story have griffins in it? I can't resist.
Maker's mercy, it's like talking to a child.
I don't really care if there were griffins in it.
Yes, there are griffins in this story. The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men.
And what happened then?
The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled.
This story isn't about a specific battle, is it?
You are observant. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden.
I'll save and continue this at a later time because my timer rang, even before I addressed her the last time. This was Savasia and Dragon Age Origins. Beweite.